Welcome to the halftime show here on the PAC Sports Network, and we're joined now by first-year Bethany women's basketball coach Mikayla Lopez. Coach, thanks so much for being with us, and welcome to the PAC.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. And now, Coach, you're in your first year, as we said, with the Bison. And prior to Bethany, you had coaching stops at Buena Vista and Aurora universities, and we're also a part of the So You Want to Be a Coach program in 2019. How do you feel that those prior experiences benefit you now in your first year as head coach with Bethany?
Yeah, they definitely helped shape me a lot. Starting with the So You Want to Be a Coach program, I was still in college. So I was a senior, still going to school, still playing. And that program really helped introduce me to not only the fact that, yes, I want to coach, but how you go about it. Obviously, a lot of people want to get into college athletics and want to get into coaching. And so the one thing about that program, it really informed me kind of how to get a step up, go above everybody else, and really try to put myself out there. Especially in athletics, it's really hard. A lot of times it's kind of all about who you know. So they taught us a lot about how to build relationships and create those and maintain them in order to help you kind of achieve whatever goal you want to get to at the end of the day. So a bunch of D1, D2, and D3 schools, all coaches, came and chatted with us and basically taught us about how their path worked and what their journey was to get to where they were. So it was kind of nice to see what steps other people took and kind of pick what works from them and figure out how it works for me. So it was good. And then both at BV and Aurora, I really loved the head coaches that I got to work for. They both did a really good job of like not only investing in the team, but also taking the time to invest in me and let me ask questions at practice, like, hey, why'd you do that or whatnot? And realize that I'm still learning and growing and developing my coaching as much as we're developing the girls. So they were both great mentors to really help me get going on this path.
And what was it when you learned about the position at Bethany? What led you to Bethany College?
So that one again was actually a previous relationship. So my previous coach when I was in college at Augustana, Jen Miller was the assistant, and she was at Bethany and texted me and said, hey, are you ready to be a head coach? I can get you the interview. And that's about it. So having that relationship and that tie kind of helped me get my foot in the door. And then I must have said something they liked in the interview process.
I'm sure you did, and I'm sure your experiences helped in that as well. Now, as a player, you had a great college career as a point guard at Augustana College, a Division III school in Rockland, Illinois, and you're not all that far from your playing days as you graduated in 2019. So being so young and having played Division III basketball, what kind of advantage do you feel that gives you in relating to and coaching your players at Bethany?
Yeah, I actually love it, to be honest. I think sometimes people will look at my age. The fact that I look like I'm 18 doesn't necessarily help, but they look at me and think, wow, God, she's so young. She's so close to them in age. And I definitely view it as a positive, only because everything that they're going through, both on the court and off the court, are still so relevant to me and are things that I just went through maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So I think it allows me to really empathize with them and understand what they're going through and help them maintain that balance. I think sometimes, at D3, it's all about the full experience. Like, I want to develop you as a person. I want to develop you as a student. I want to develop you as a basketball player. And I think it's nice because I got to experience that. And I had coaches who really focused on developing me as an all-around person. And that's kind of what I try to do and approach with my girls.
Now, we noted this So You Want to Be a Coach program that you were a part of in 2019. So with that said, it's pretty obvious that this is something you've wanted to do for a long time. At what point in your life did you decide, you know what, I want to be a head coach?
Yeah, it's definitely something I've always wanted. When I was like in ninth grade, I coached a fourth grade boys basketball team, and that was kind of where it all started. I just loved the game. There was one thing about basketball, like I could not imagine having it. Growing up, I was watching NBA, watching the WNBA at 5 years old. And so it kind of just stuck. And then I just kind of felt like I was a little bit of a natural born leader throughout all of my teams when I got to college. And then Jen Miller was definitely helped mentor me. And she was kind of the coach that made me realize, like, I want to do this. Like, she changed my life. She changed the way that I view things. And now I want to do that and give it back. So I would definitely say when I got into college is when I was like, yep, this is it. This is what I want to do.
Now, looking at this Bethany team that you take over, and we won't have time to get to everybody on the squad, but the Bison have been hit with some adversity in the early going this season. A season-ending injury to Lindsey Garrison, who was the PAC Newcomer of the Year last season, set the single-season record for three-pointers. So obviously a big blow to the team. But, first off, how is Lindsey, and how is the team adjusting to life without Lindsey Garrison?
It's definitely been an adjustment. Lindsay's good. She's a great positive mindset. She's really taken on that leadership role now that she can't be on the court. So, in the game, she'll come up to me and be like, "Hey, I see this. I think this is good." Or at practice, she's not afraid to raise her voice and be a little bit more vocal. So, trying to find the most positive things in the worst case scenario, Lindsay's done a really good job of taking on that leadership role. And I think again, it's been good for everybody else. Lindsay's a natural born scorer. She can go out and score and get buckets every single night. And I think sometimes our team had gotten so used to relying on Lindsay. And again, trying to stay positive in this darkness, it forces other people to step up, and it forced other people who maybe don't have that scoring mindset. Like, hey, she's out. Somebody's got to step up if we're going to continue to try to be in games and win games. So I think it was good. I think it helped change a little bit of the mindset for everybody else.
And maybe we saw some of that in the most recent game against Grove City. Hard fought contest. While the team did lose the game 73-67, I know you were extremely proud of the effort of the team. What did that game show you about the resolve of this group?
Yeah, it was awesome. We just kind of came off of a not too pretty game against Chatham the week before. And, I think it spoke a lot about our character. You can come off of a loss like that and roll over and be sad and not bounce back. Or like I said, we came in, we practiced hard. I think we did a good job sticking to the game plan. We led for 22 minutes of the game. They just happened to go on a great 12-3 run at the very end. And we hadn't been in that situation yet. Most of our games were either we were dominating teams or teams are dominating us. So it was a good experience and a good learning thing, but we finally shot the ball well. And I think it was a very good confidence booster. We needed it, and it was a big step forward for us. So I'm excited to see how we continue to grow off of that.
And you talk about players stepping up. The 2021 PAC Newcomer of the Year you have in the fold as well. Mackenzie Mason had 23 points in that game against Grove City. Already one of the team leaders anyway. How much has Mason stepped up in light of the injury to Garrison?
Yeah, she's awesome. One thing about Mac is she is just the hardest worker on the floor. Even if she has 0 points and 0 rebounds, I know I can rely on her, and she's going to go work hard. The one thing I'll even give her more credit, she actually tore her ACL in that game and came back and played on a torn ACL. So I think that just speaks volumes again about her character and her dedication to this team and wanting to be there for her teammates. So a little bit more adversity that we're facing, but she came back and balled out for us. So we appreciate it. She's done a great job being a good leader and holding other people accountable.
Junior Bella Scoble and sophomore Ashley Wheeler, experienced starters for the Bison as well. Wheeler, a PAC honorable mention last year. What kind of presence and athleticism do those two bring to the team?
Yeah, I put a lot of pressure on my point guards because I was point guard. So Ash and I have done a great job of really growing our relationship and her understanding what I need from her. Obviously, my style of play is a little bit different than Brian's and what he ran in the previous year. So that's been an adjustment that her and I have been working on, and her understanding what I need from her and her role. And she's taken that role on very well. She struggled the first couple games, and we had some great honest conversations about it. And now she's understanding it and taking on that role and going and creating for not only herself, but for other people, which, as we talked about with the loss of Lindsay, it's really important that we start getting other people involved. So she's done a great job diving into that role. Same with Bella. Bella was a big person whose mindset we kind of had to change. She didn't get to play a lot last year because she had an injury and whatnot. So we were on the fence about kind of what she would bring. And we, again, had good individual conversations like, Bella, I need you to be a scorer. This is what I need from you. And she's, again, dove onto that role. I'll say about Bella, she's probably been our most consistent player from the beginning of the year till now. She goes in, she's very coachable. She does what I ask. She might not show up on the stat sheet, but she's disciplined on defense. She's in the right spots and whatnot. So she's been our most consistent player probably from start to finish so far.
And there are 4 seniors on this team, including 2 in the starting lineup in the form of Alexis Heap and Sophie Morey. How has the senior class contributed to the team thus far?
Yeah, Sophie's one of our captains this year, and she's a great leader off the court. We call her team mom. She's kind of the team mom and helps with organizing snacks or making posters when we go to the men's soccer games, those kind of things. So she's great, and she's always positive. She's just very bubbly. So sometimes when I'm mad and I'm yelling at the girls and ripping into them, she's great to have on the other end of that. Like, hey, it's okay. We're good. We're positive and whatnot. So she's been a great leader off the court for us in that regard. And Lexi Heap's our go-to defender. She brings all kinds of energy with her long length and gets deflection. So she's another one of those players where what she does doesn't necessarily show up on the stat sheet, but like when she's on, we're on. So a lot of times our defense kind of goes as Lexi goes, which is nice. So
now, still very early in the season at this point, but what are some areas that you're looking to see the team improve on and excel in the weeks ahead?
Oh, yeah. Ooh, that's a good one. Nothing has been driving me more crazy than the amount of turnovers we have per game. So we're big emphasis on valuing possessions. With my style of play and wanting to play a lot faster, you create a lot more possessions per game, not only for yourself, but also for the other team. And so we are focusing more on being more precise with our decision making and valuing those possessions. So a couple times we have too many turnovers that teams capitalize on, and there are turnovers that the other team didn't do anything. We forced our own turnover, or we just weren't in the right spot. So our biggest things is starting to be a little bit more competitive in the rebounding battle, and then not having so many turnovers per game.
And a bit of a lighthearted question for you. In my research, I saw on the Augustana website that you were listed as Scooter Lopez on the roster. So can you enlighten us on your old nickname?
Yes, I've had it since I was like 2 years old. No joke. My dad is like the king of giving out nicknames. And so I had a toy that was like a motorized toy, but instead of using the motor, I would just like scoot on my butt in it. And then growing up, there was always another Mikayla on the team. So it was just easier to keep the nickname. And then, yeah, when I got recruited to Augustana, it was Scooter. And they even announced me as Scooter in the starting lineup. I had a professor mark me absent for 2 weeks because every time I here for Mikayla, she didn't think I was being real. Like she was like, "No, you're Scooter." I'm like, "No, that's me." So yeah, it's stuck. It's pretty funny. Like Jen still occasionally will call me Scooter here, and she's like, "I'm sorry, I mean Mikayla." It's fine. It's good.
Well, thanks so much, Coach Mikayla Lopez of the Bethany Bison women's basketball team. We so much appreciate your time, and good luck to you and the team the rest of the way.
Of course. Thanks for having me, and thanks for the time.
Absolutely. We'll have the second half of today's game when we come back in just a moment.